Hey, everybody. I'm Dieter Kurtenbach. This is Wes. Well, our job is to tell you kind of how it went, and there's no nice way to put how it went tonight. The Warriors got their butts kicked by the Phoenix Suns, and they lost Steph Curry for an extended period of time. I think they should start tanking right now. I don't think that's going to take too much for them to get around to. I think that they can pretty much keep doing what they were doing, and that's going to get the job done. Is there any alternative to that, Wes?
Well, I think in most situations in a game like this, where your star player goes down with a hand injury, a broken hand that is going to keep him out at least a month, right?
Yeah.
Most situations like this, the game would be irrelevant. There's no point in talking about it. However, in this
Are we going to
game,
talk about this game?
the reason this game mattered was because they were losing by 29 points at the time that Curry got hurt.
Right.
This followed the same recipe as the other two blowout losses that started the season, where they were giving up everything in the paint, and that sort of trickled out to the three-point line, where they were giving up everything at the three-point line. The Suns are the third team to shoot over 50% against the Warriors this season. This defense is really bad.
Yeah.
Curry was the offense. They've got no hope, exactly.
yeah.
So this is a situation now where the game is relevant in the way that it was already sort of doomed before Curry went down. I mean, it was a bad night that just got worse. And to your point here, like this whole tank debate, this is going to be a thing for the next probably 4 to 5 weeks. And there's really no debate to be had. This team's not very good. I was talking with somebody earlier, and I thought that this team, with Curry being healthy, could probably gel and start to coalesce and start figuring out its defensive problems around Christmas time,
Yes.
right?
And it might have been too late by then.
And it might have been too late by then. And if with Curry being out probably until Christmas time now, even if this defense figures it out, you were saying before that this team, they couldn't afford 10 games without Curry. It's going to be more than 10 games without Curry, guaranteed at this point. Rajon Rondo missed a month last year after getting surgery on his right hand. Now, we'll get a CAT scan on Curry tomorrow afternoon. We'll find out more. But my bet would be that he's going to undergo surgery.
It's a second broken metacarpal tarsal.
Tarsal. Maybe
Whatever.
carpal.
What?
Tarsal might be-
It's whatever the hand one is. Which is bad. It seems like that's an important metacarpal tarsal. It's the left. I guess he could go out there with one hand. Might be tough to dribble. But yeah, the fact of the matter is the Western Conference is stacked. And if you're throwing away games, which the Warriors have already done 3 times this year, and now you're going to lose certainly the majority of your games without Curry going forward, because who's going to score? Like, cool, D'Angelo Russell's dribbling 40 times and, trying to pick and roll. Like, we've seen how that went for the Los Angeles Lakers pre-LeBron. It did not go well. They drafted number 2 like every year for a long time because that's not an offense. That's not a viable playoff contender in the Western Conference. You can get away with that stuff in the East, but not here in the West. I'm curious as to how the Warriors will structure this, how they'll attack it, because pragmatism says what we've been saying. Shut it down. Shut it down, let's go home, in the words of Dirk Nowitzki. But Steve Kerr is a prideful dude, and it's been 4 games. And my question, I was asking this when they went down 30-something to the Suns in the second quarter, end of the first quarter, beginning of the second quarter. At what point is it at what point can you actually make a judgment call on this team? I'm looking at a squad that, as you mentioned, couldn't play any defense at all, like laughably bad defense. I'm looking at an NBA that is defined by the wing position, and their best wing is Glenn Robinson, Alec Burks, 2 guys who had, I think, a combined 3 offers this offseason. Like, that's not how you win games. I'm seeing Draymond Green out there just frustrated, can't do anything. He's certainly not the offensive threat. He looks cashed to a large degree. He came into the regular season out of shape, which is something that he couldn't do, and yet he did it. I'm just seeing a team that has a lot of expansion vibes. Looks like a ragtag squad that they had to put together in an expansion draft. It wouldn't have been ridiculous after this game to just say, it ain't happening. Right. But then we have to go forward with the conceit of 4 games is not enough. With this hand injury, I would like to think that the Warriors are pragmatic enough, smart enough to realize the basketball gods have spoken. In the last 6 games, they've lost Kevin Durant to an Achilles injury and then to the Brooklyn Nets, Klay Thompson to an ACL injury, and now Stephen Curry to a serious hand injury, which is the least of all the injuries in terms of severity. Like, again, I'm not much for spirituality and all, but the basketball gods have spoken. They need to shut it down. And if you do shut it down, if you go full 1997 San Antonio Spurs, you stand a chance. You stand a chance of actually having something a little bit better than you would have normally had next year when they've already had their minds on 2020, 2021, which is hard enough to say as is and is only going to be more in our lexicon going forward.
What does shut it down look like? Because
I don't think it looks that much different. I guess it's Draymond.
It's just Draymond. And the thing we know about Draymond is that he's probably not going to be happy about that. And in a situation where, or he might be actually, he is visibly frustrated, but I don't think that he's just going to want to not play. Now, maybe you dial his minutes back. Maybe you give him the second night of back-to-backs off, and you kind of go into the new acceptable pretense of load management.
Yeah.
But you can't just shut him down. And if you want to, on the flip side, if you want to get these young guys to learn and get better, Draymond being on the floor is helpful. I mean, for the most part in these first 4 games, he's out on the court right here, pointing and directing guys. He is the teacher on the court, so you can't just get rid of the teacher and just put a bunch of kids in a classroom and say, learn. So it's a situation where I think Draymond does actually become more important than ever. It doesn't mean that they're going to win games. It just means that if the idea now is to develop, then you ought to have Draymond out there. And I want to go back to something you said about the hand injury, because you're absolutely right. With the stakes being nothing at this point, there's no reason to force Steph out there. I think an optimistic Warriors fan would say, look, it's 4 to 6 weeks. It's 6 to 8 weeks typically. Like he'll be back before the turn of the calendar. Yeah. They can't afford that. And we saw LeBron play with a broken hand, allegedly, in the NBA Finals, but it was to his non-shooting hand, allegedly.
Yes.
This is to Steph's non-shooting hand, like you said. It is the ball straightener. It is the one that holds the ball in place. But if he had to play, I'm not going to say he would play, but this is definitely the situation where you're like, all right, better safe than sorry, because they're coming off of this Durant situation, which it doesn't matter whose fault it was. Right. It was bad PR. That's it. They are already being very, very cautious with Klay Thompson. Because of that, they're going to be they're going to be more cautious with Stephen Curry, because he's the man that built the arena that we're sitting in right now. So I see no reason for them to rush him back, because this team wasn't very good in the first place.
There's a deep peculiarity to all of this, though, because it was already going to be extremely difficult this season because of the arena that we're in. And because Joe Lacob and Peter Gruber and all these guys spent all of this money, including the people who, decided to leave at halftime, probably for good reason, and missed the injury, a lot of money was spent on this place. And being really bad, not just bad, but really bad, is, going back to what you said, really bad PR. Right. That does not help the quote-unquote brand. But I don't know what the process really looks like for this team.
Well, they have the perfect excuse. Yeah. They entered the season with Klay at an ACL tear. Steph Curry goes down in game number 4.
Right.
Like, even
lean into it.
Just lean into it. I think fans already, if Curry and Thompson are not on the floor, their expectations here are 0. Yeah. They really are. And I don't think anybody could realistically expect this team to make a postseason run without those guys on the court. So call it tank, call it not tank. There is going to be PR spin. There's going to be PR spin. The Warriors are going to push back against the tank concept completely. That's not what they do, right?
Yeah.
So whatever it looks like whatever they call it doesn't matter, because what is going to happen is that they're going to lose a lot of games.
The question is what happens when Curry does get healthy. This is not an injury that is going to linger the rest of the season. Like Thompson, you can shut him down for the whole year right now. There's no issue. That it's very much inside the timeline. How do you keep Steph off of the floor? Because as much as we say it would be great for Draymond to be out there teaching the young guys, you don't really want to waste valuable, scarce mileage from Draymond Green. You don't know how many more miles the guy's got. You want to waste it on this season, so you're going to have to really load manage that looking for the long term. Steph has played in 5 straight NBA finals, and he's taken a beating, and you know that just builds up and builds up and builds up. How do they keep him off the court? How do they manage it? What kind of PR spin can they put on not playing their best players for the rest of the year as to maximize what is a lost season? Mediocrity does not play in the NBA, even with lottery reform. I'm fascinated to see how they handle this.
Ironically enough, Kawhi Leonard has become their best friend now, because he made load management fashionable. Yeah. And so now, again, if you're the Warriors, you could go old school San Antonio Spurs. Nobody plays more than 30 minutes. Right. Meaning basically Draymond and Curry, because those are the only 2 players who would want playing 30 minutes in the first place. But nobody plays more than 30 minutes when they're available, and nobody plays and those two players don't play the second night of back-to-backs for the most part. Maybe you play one high-profile one here or there just to, again, PR reasons.
Yeah.
But for the most part, you don't, and that's how you do it. I think that would be how you probably go, because we've already seen this season, Kerr just takes Draymond and Steph out in the fourth quarter because they've been losing by 30 points. So when that's the case, and that's going to be the case, this isn't just like a flash in the pan. You and I are seeing the same thing defensively. It's not good. Every place on the floor is open all the time. And so this is not going to be the last 20-point, 30-point loss that they have this season. And so there'll be a lot of fourth quarters off. Yes. There'll be a lot of back-to-back nights off. And there'll be a lot of just minute management in the first place.
It's going to suck. It's just going to suck.
Yeah.
I don't know how to put it in a nicer way.
No, good first year on the beat for me. I picked the right year to start.
Yeah, what did you do? At least the Niners are good. I'm getting the hell out of here. My commute to Santa Clara is not very much fun, but better than having to watch this. We cannot stress enough how badly the Phoenix Suns, who look okay, by the way, if we want to spawn this out to the whole NBA, because God knows we don't have much to talk about around here. Suns look good. Monty Williams is a good coach. I kind of like the pieces they put together. They might have something going there. But
when you have Aaron Baines, evidently.
Aaron Baines, public enemy number one around here. Total smackdown by the Phoenix Suns tonight. 3rd out of 4 games. It's all bad. But Eric Paschal was okay. I liked him. So, yeah, how about it?
Made his first 6 shots. He was very active on the floor. He tried to rebound a bunch of times but missed them. And played hard.
Yeah. Well, Wes, it was nice meeting you and getting to know you, but bye.